Reese Hidden Gems and Highlights, and I am here today at Royal Crown Academy with Patrick Shaw. An individual some individuals know as uncle, other individuals know as dad, some call mayor, others call prime minister. Individuals refer to him as the engine, the brain, the genius, and the list goes on and on. Jack of all trades and master of every single one. Never ever can there be any short of compliments and flowers given to you, Patrick. Welcome.
Thank you. That's the best intro I had in a long time.
Oh
It's
my
probably one of the best ever.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, it is such an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
I know that people are always seeing you everywhere. But not really seeing you because you're quiet or you're observing or you're supporting someone. Much like today. Today was supposed to be entirely about Patrick and, of course, trying to pull other people in, trying to highlight other people, trying to shine the light on others. That's just your heartbeat.
Thank you. That's what it's about. Like I think it's a village kind of concept. So I'm always trying to make sure that everybody's involved in the village, and I can't do it by myself, right? There's doors that were open for me when I got to Canada, and it helped me build what I wanted to try to build and form it with other people to the level where it is now.
Okay, so let's take a lot of steps back. Can we start with the beginning of your resume, which has nothing to do with any type of educational background yet, any type of experiential background as it relates to profession, but rather the foundation of how you became who you are today? Where did this all start, the beginning of Patrick Shaw?
Started in Paterson, New Jersey. It was the murder capital of the United States for 7 years of my 20 years of growing up. So a lot of violence. I was with a single parent family, me, my brother, my sister. I was the youngest, the most adventurous. So I was always having to be bodyguarded, get them in the house early because I just wanted to be outside. I wanted to, have fun and, learn different things, learn different languages. I learned Spanish just by being around all the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. So my mom came up with ideas of, okay, you know what? I would, go shopping, buy food, and everybody would come to my mom's house, a Jamaican household, an American, Puerto Rican community. It was all houses, so we basically ran our block kind of mentality. So everybody came to my house to eat. So that became the forging of like taking care of each other, like everybody being in my house, we start off with the brothers, and then the sisters would come, cousins would come. So my house was always full, but my mother did it strategically because she was going to school and working. So I would see my mom leave at 7, then I wouldn't see her until like 10 o'clock at night. So the community forged me. Neighbors, Miss Sadie across the street, grandma across the other side. Like those were my family members who my mom entrusted to make sure I was good. And then the payoff was she would just spend so much money on food to keep everybody in my house. So my house was the lunch house, the dinner house, and then on the weekends she would cook 3 meals, and everybody learned how to eat rice and peas and chicken and oxtail. And people have this misconception, like Spanish people and American people eat the same food. They eat oxtails, they eat rice and peas, just different names. So arroz y pollo is Spanish, right? Rice, chicken and rice. So that's how it started. That's how it started.
Okay, so I just need to point something out. Patrick just mentioned that his mother worked from literally sunrise until beyond sunset, right? So in the middle of the night. And yet, cared for the community, fed the community, taught the community how to cook and ensure that they were well fed. Now, I need to just point out the fact that this is exactly you. And I say that to say, how does one do so many things and be presently just an individual that doesn't seek, right, to be affirmed or to get back? That's you. You're in spaces. You're making sure that people are taken care of. You're pouring into individuals. You're everywhere while not even being present and doing amazing and wonderful things to give life to so many.
I don't know. I think it's a gift and sometimes a curse because I don't know how to say no sometimes, and it's put me in situations where I try to do things and maybe it doesn't come out the way I feel it. It might come out good for you. Like you might think it's okay, but my standards are a little bit different. So I'm always trying to give more, and there's only 24 hours in a day. So, you know, I never really liked a lot of the notoriety because it enabled me not being tagged on to so much things in people's eyes that I can get into spaces and still navigate and be real. Like I'm a realist that if I can get into spaces and find out who you are, then I know how to work with you. So sometimes, you know, I always call it my Pat Riley. I'll stand in the Pat Riley made Miami, but he never really looked for the accolades. He stood in the tunnel and watched the game. So I always wanted to be that tunnel person where I could manage in spaces, be in the corporate, be in the coaching level, but still be able to go on the court and have fun with the kids. Like I that's if I was just corporate and middle management, I would be lost because I still want to touch the youth. That is my DNA. I'm always, I want to be a part of the youth. I want to be a part of that energy. That energy keeps me young, makes me want to dress like them. You know, I throw on my J's and say, hey, guess what? You know, I got J's too. You know, like I got that for 4 or 5 years. I got the original. You got the new. You got the remake. So, like, just that kind of energy keeps me striving to be better. You know, given opportunities.
So, the resume, which we know is extremely long, what is it that you do as far as titles are concerned?
Okay, so you know, I work for Black Creek Health Clinic, so I do all their external programs. So basically, dealing with the community. You know, bringing medical services to seniors and people who can't leave their house. I do the jail program where I talk to youth in the jail. So I go to jails once to twice a week, and I mentor youth and adults. So I go to Toronto South, and you know, try to set up structure for them when they come out. So it could be ID, it could be just reintegrating into society, you know, and just being that mentor to them. That a lot of people don't know about that. I do that on the quiet. I am the director of operations here, and me and Chris Exelis are the architect of this program, you know, to where it is now. I run Sisters Keeper, which is my brothers and sisters keeper, and we have a chapter in New York, we have a chapter in Philadelphia and Toronto. And then I'm also a couple, you know, founders of a couple nonprofits that help out for food services, education services, and et cetera, et cetera.
And why is it that you have your hands in so many different pots and doing them all so well?
I think because they all connect. You know, youth in playing sports and education is one, but then you have youth in crisis, which is jail, you know, and coming out of jail and reintegrating yourself into society and not people turning their back on you because you have one strike. Then you look at the elders, which I'm an old soul, so I love grandmas, I love mothers, you know, that because I grew up in a single parent family. My grandmother was my mother, my grandaunt was my grandmother and mother, so I have like a love for them to make sure that they're good. And a lot of the seniors that we deal with, their families don't come visit them anymore. So sometimes they just come and talk. They're saying they're coming to the mobile unit to, you know, have some services, but sometimes they just want to be around people. So even though I was with the city of Toronto for 25 years, a Falstaff community, and when I left there, I still had a program there, which is a food service program. So we still feed people 5 days a week in that program out of the 20 building, and now the 40 building, and now it's grown to after school. So they're growing it, and it's with the help and the funding of Black Creek Health Clinic that we continue that program. So there's sewing programs, cooking programs, knock on the door programs, because we lost about 15 people during COVID that were in their house and they passed and nobody knew because nobody visited them. So we have a program where the staff that work with me and under me, they go and knock as a community and say, hey, we're checking up on you, here's some food. I have a program with Second Harvest and Healthy Food Basket that we do food hampers twice a week to help out with families who can't afford. So that's another program that I started up in the community, and it's branched all the way up to Jane and Finch. So they come and we serve food for people. And then, you know, I'm starting up another program with MLSC. They called me yesterday and they want to do food, and, you know, they're opening up another launch pad and they want me to be involved in it. So the more I say I'm not going to do stuff, I take on a new role. But it's always, like I said, intertwining. It always connects. So I look at it and I tell people it's the cradle to the grave concept, right? I'm looking to help not just the child, but also help the elder.
So there's a full circle world that takes place, and there's an entity for everyone at every stage based on how you're connected to all of the things that you do, it seems.
100%. And I always try to find and empower somebody there that I can now, after I started, I can sit back and now make them be the one that runs it. So empowering them, so when people see certain things that I'm involved with, the assumption is, oh, Patrick is just helping, not realizing that I founded it, or I started it, or I'm pulling the strings maybe behind, but I'm empowering that person in front to literally say, okay, you do this. This is your pathway now. Love it, and then I can walk away from it and still help from afar. So that's, like I said, it's the Pat Riley kind of mentality of staying in the shadows to be able to navigate and do all these things at the same time.
And how powerful to be able to be in so many places while not being there, through the gift of giving back and empowering other individuals. And I guess this is why you can be doing so many different things at so many different times while not being present.
And it's fulfilling, because if you have the right people, they follow your model. And through following your model, then you know that it's, and they actually are appreciative of the opportunities that you give them. So in following my model and kind of going through it, it makes it easier, because I have the template. Not saying that you can't grow in that space and find out new ideas, because I encourage that, because most of the people that I set in these places, they actually are visionaries themselves. And I just said, okay, hey, let's take your vision to another spot, like take your vision to another place, So, as you know, our first encounter was in this space. I seen this opportunity for people to get in this space, and I said, this is a good space to be in. Let me see how I can help, whichever way I can help. Doesn't mean that I put you where you are now, but I dabbled in a little bit of everything to start it, right? And I think it comes full circle, where now that you're interviewing me, and people like yourself have interviewed me who started out in the same space that it is. So I think that's the concept, right?
That is certainly the concept. The giving, now, I need to say this, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, depending on the forum that I've been in, and the accumulation of all of them, of individuals that I've met. And there are about 3 people who are purely, authentically good human beings that are, that give back and are kind-hearted. And I always say, I don't forget pure kindness. And you had no idea who I was. And during our first encounters, like, to pour into the students that I had connections with through donations from Adidas, just because. And like I said, I don't forget. And though it was several years ago, I don't forget kindness. You knew me from nowhere, but your heart is to do, your heart is to give, your heart is to pour in. Creating spaces so individuals' dreams can become realized. Huge. And it doesn't even require request. It's, you notice a need and you fulfill it. And then another piece is, and this is what I realize about championship winners, obstacles don't exist, because you pivot and you create new pathways. I know that there was conversation about you having to work through the COVID challenges and creating a bubble, right? So there was a no, but a no for that moment, not for you, because you create new realities that are safe and accessible. Talk about how you overcome challenges, and how is it that your mind works to always be in a place where you triumph over challenges?
I think it comes from a strong black woman. My mother, like, she kicked down doors, and as I said, she went to school and worked, earned 2 degrees while taking care of 3 kids. And then, she's in the legal system now in New Jersey, been there for 35 years. So she never understood a no. And she instilled that in me. So every time somebody says no, then I say, okay, I'm gonna find a way. Through it be a smile, through it be relationships, through it be charming, sometimes kicking down the door. I use every tool in my toolkit to make sure that what I think is important and what the people around me think is important, which is usually society and usually the culture needs, I try to make it happen, right? And like I said, sometimes to a detriment, because just because I think it's a good idea, culture might say it's not a good idea, right? So that's, it's just my DNA. Like, I love it. It challenges actually good. Keeps me awake.
Well, it certainly does. And another challenge that was presented was Cheyenne Day Wilson being on the boys basketball team and doing too well.
As now they say, doing too much.